Right, good morning, guys, from Birmingham City Centre. I'll tell you what, I've got toothache this morning. Don't know why. I'm feeling really tired as well, but that's not going to put me off because I'm taking a couple of journeys today on the coach, the National Express coach. The first one is from here down to Bristol, which is going to take about 2 hours, I think. And then I've got about an hour's wait there before I get on my next coach, which is going to take me from there down to Tiverton in Devon. And yeah, I've never changed coaches before, so it's a bit of a novelty for me, this. So why don't you come with me for the trip? And I'll see you on board. Cheers for now. Birmingham Coach Station, formerly known as Digbeth Coach Station. And you know what? There's something about the name Digbeth, isn't there? It's just like, it could be a multi-million-pound house, Digbeth Mansion, let's say, and it would just still sound horrible. Digbeth. Yeah. Maybe that's why they changed the name. Let me know what you think. Anyway, this was my first ever time arriving at the coach station by foot. I'd actually caught the train to Birmingham, and let me tell you, it's a bit of a hike from New Street Station, and it's certainly not as convenient as Flixbus or Megabus. Then, of course, once you're here, there are much better facilities to hand. I wasn't sure if I'd gone through the front door or not, to be honest, but it was the first one I came to, and you got a shop here directly in front, and then all the bus gates are laid out to the right hand side. It was a nice day, and the sun was streaming through the windows, so I had a quick sit down and just familiarised myself with the surroundings. Okay, Digbeth Coach Station, Birmingham. Yeah, first impressions are pretty good actually. The waiting area is spacious, bright and airy. So yeah, I quite like it. Now there's a separate waiting lounge just opposite me there. There's a shop, an information point about halfway down. I reckon there's again on towards 16 gates. Quite busy, I would imagine, especially today actually, and the next few days because the trains are affected by ongoing rail strikes in the UK, which isn't helping. So I'm expecting this particular service I'm going to be on to be quite busy today. But we'll see how it goes. I've got about an hour or so to wait now, so I'm going to have a bit of a mooch around, and then the coach will turn up and we'll get ourselves down to Bristol, shall we? Yeah, so this is the waiting lounge here, as seen from the concourse, and once you go through the doors you have the ticket office and the ticket machines to the right, and the coach station, by the way, is exclusively used by National Express, who also have their headquarters on site. There's a Starbucks within this area, and opposite that a cafe with no name that seems to do baguettes mainly. But you know what, I would recommend going outside if you're hungry, because there are loads of small cafes which will charge you less than half the price of these two. There are toilets available, though these will cost you 30p a go. And like I said, an information desk right in the middle of the concourse, and at least a couple of large departure boards like this one, displaying all the information you need about your coach. Talking of which, my first chariot of desire had turned up at gate 16, a Scania Caetano Levant 2 with the 100 service to Western-super-Mare. I joined the queue of happy travellers waiting to board, and as per usual with National Express. Anyway, the driver greeted me with a really friendly welcome, checked my ticket, offered to put my bag in the hold, to which I declined on this occasion, and I made my way onto the coach. Cheers, mate. Being a cheapskate on a budget, I hadn't bothered reserving a seat today. I just settled for a window on the left-hand side. First impressions, yeah, usual National Express, clean, fresh and well kept, looked after interior. It was going to be quite busy this leg, so I had a quick look at the seat before somebody sat next to me. Now this coach had the drop-down seat back table with cup holders, and a pouch beneath that to store your bits and pieces. There's a 3-pin power socket here between the seats in front, and yeah, the seats themselves are lovely winged headrests, which I always think sets the National Express seat apart from the rest. With recline functionality, it's overall a very comfortable seat, this. And above your head you have the expected individual air vents and reading lights built into the luggage racks, and yeah, legroom, well, it's pretty good, isn't it? With the hinged footrest adding to the comfort if you like that sort of thing. Before we left, the driver, Simon, made sure everyone had their seatbelts on. A safety announcement was played, plus adverts, and we reversed out of the bay at Birmingham Coach Station 13 minutes late. heading west down the Hagley Road onto junction 3 of the M5. Okay, did anyone notice the overhead warning sign and the roadworks signs on the side of the road? Well, there was a lane out at junction 8 southbound, which I thought was causing a massive tailback. We slowly ground to a halt, but it turned out that before the roadworks, some idiot in a beaten up old Fiat Punto had become stranded somehow, and that was the cause of the hold-up. The actual lane reduction was no big deal in itself. I had an hour to connect in Bristol, and added to the fact that we'd already left late, this did cause a bit of stress, but fortunately we did manage to get going again without too much delay in the end. Right, so as we turned off the M5 towards Bristol, I managed to prise myself away from my next door neighbour and then go and have a look at the toilet. Located at the rear of the coach, access is via a sliding door, usual National Express thing really. There was water in the tap and liquid soap in the dispenser, the hand dryer worked, grab handle here, and appropriate signage regarding the use of the toilet. Nothing much to say about the loo really, because it was clean and tidy and everything worked. Again, top marks for National Express on this occasion. I returned to my seat, tried out the Wi-Fi, which didn't work unfortunately, but small issue really on a journey of around 2.5 hours with plentiful mobile coverage anyway in this part of the country. We arrived into Bristol approximately 35 minutes late in the end. Not too bad considering the late departure and the hold-ups en route. I had enough time to go and grab something to eat from the Greg's Bakers outside the coach station, and I just took a seat and waited for my second coach of the day to arrive. Okay guys, first leg completed. I'm at Bristol, just waiting for my connection now. The coach was approximately 35 minutes late in the end, due mainly to some guy in a Fiat Punto blocking up the M5 southbound around about junction 8, but it's fine, we're here. And I've got a few minutes to kill now. 1700 is the time of departure for my second leg, which is the 5:02 service from London heading to Barnstaple, and I'm going to be going as far as Tiverton. So why don't you come with me for this part of the journey, and I'll see you on the coach. National Express again have ticket machines here below the departure board, and also an information desk which was manned. The likes of Megabus and Flixbus are again banished to the surrounding streets, but obviously the coach station is shared by other local buses, and the Airport Express coach to name but one other. Our coach arrived at 1700, and as I had hoped, most people got off here, and only about half a dozen of us got on.
Are you going to Tiverton?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I climbed on board, and as you can see, there was loads of room. I was spoilt for choice really, but eventually settled for a seat on the right hand side for a change. And yet, this was a lovely coach. A Scania Caetano Levant 3 this time on a 2022 plate. It was pretty new, and it even smelt new too. Whilst we were parked up, the interior main lights were on, so I had a little bit of time to check out some of the inside. The seats themselves were very smart, with the expected National Express dark grey leather colour scheme. Well, I thought they had pretty good legroom as well, but let me know how you find it if you travel on coaches regularly. Do National Express have the best legroom, or do you prefer Megabus or Flixbus in this respect? There were double USB charging points above a drop-down seat-back table. The main lights were turned off prior to departure, and we left Bristol at 17:06. By the way, guys, have you been thinking about buying presents for that special someone in your life? Well, why not get them the gift of subscription by signing up to my Ko-fi page? There's loads of stuff about my trips on there you won't find anywhere else, and you get to find out where I'm going next and even get involved in the trips themselves. Membership starts from just £1, and all the money raised goes towards funding future trips so I can bring you more content like this. As well as other perks, you'll also get your name on the screen at the end of all my videos. Link is below, or you can scan the QR code here. Thanks in advance for your support. Now, although it was fairly dark by now, this did accentuate the array of blue LED lighting inside. And they seem to be everywhere, from the USB charging points, which you would expect, to the overhead air vents, the luggage racks, even the screen at the front of the coach. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say it felt like a spaceship shooting across the galaxies, but, travelling on something like this really questions the preconceived idea that coach trips are something to be endured and not enjoyed. We stopped at Sedgemoor Services South for a driver change. This coach had come all the way from London, remember. And then we continued down the M5 towards Bridgewater and beyond. Okay, so after a bit I thought I'd try the Wi-Fi, and we did actually get a reasonable connection on this coach. Whilst it was nowhere near fast enough to watch video, it did load up social media text and some pictures after a while. Put it this way, I had more success with it on this trip than I had on most of my other experiences. Now, I thought it was only fair to check out the toilet again, which was, unsurprisingly, almost identical to the one on the previous coach, the Levant 2. The only difference here really was that there was no soap in the dispenser and no alternative was provided, so that wasn't that great, to be honest. But apart from that, it was really the only negative that I found on this journey. The only other thing, I guess, is that rather than carrying on down the M5, we went round and round various places I'd never heard of, like North Petherton and Wellington, which I kind of understand in that National Express are providing a service to these places. But by the time we got to Tiverton here, I was absolutely starving. I think I was ready for the hotel at this point. Cheers, mate. Any boats? I'm okay, thanks. Cheers, mate. And Tiverton bus station is a bit desolate at this time of the day in November, but fortunately my hotel was just across the way. The price I paid for both legs today was £15.40, and you can't really complain about that, can you? Now I watched the coach disappear off into the night, and then I headed off for a well-deserved bite to eat. Right guys, here at Tiverton in hotel. Guess what sort of hotel it is? Not not difficult, is it? And I'll tell you what, I'm absolutely shattered. That last hour and a half between, where was it, Bridgewater and Tiverton, it was just tortuous. Turns off the M5 and honestly it's just like round and round these little towns and villages as well. But we made it safe, and we made it probably about a quarter of an hour late, something like that, approximately. But yeah, nice coach on that second leg, wasn't it? I think it was almost brand new. But I have to say, the first coach I kind of preferred in a way. It was more comfortable, and yeah, it just seemed a little bit smoother, the ride. That's my opinion. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. Like I said, it's been a long day, but yeah, I've had a good time, and yeah, I'm sure I will see you on another adventure again soon. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and cheers for now.